Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. The big thing in this update is actually pretty straightforward. In clubs, one issue got fixed where AI facilities boosts were being applied to the actual players when they were not supposed to be. And yeah, that kind of thing can mess with the balance in a mode like clubs because once systems start applying the wrong boosts, everything can feel a little off. Maybe you notice a player performing differently than expected. Maybe the mode just does not feel as clean as it should. And even if you cannot immediately point to the exact reason, something just feels strange. So getting that sorted is definitely one of those fixes that should make the mode behave more like it is supposed to. There were also some general presentation changes in this update, and this is the kind of stuff that people might scroll past at first, but it actually helps the game feel more polished. Some banners, flags, scarves, and kits were updated, which means there are little visual tweaks around the game to keep things looking current and more accurate. It is not the kind of thing that makes a huge splash on its own, but these details matter more than people sometimes give them credit for. Football games live and die on presentation just as much as gameplay, so when the visuals are updated, even in subtle ways, it keeps the whole experience feeling fresher. On top of that, there were stability fixes too, and honestly, that is always one of the most welcome parts of any update. Nobody really gets excited reading stability issues, but everybody appreciates it when the game stops acting weird. Crashes, freezes, random glitches, menu problems, stuff like that can ruin a session fast. So even if the patch notes are not packed with huge headline features, getting the game to run smoother and more reliably is always a win. And if you have not played in a little while, there was also that patch from last week, and that one actually had a bit more going on. In Ultimate Team, the UI selection was improved when viewing player items in the new Releases tab, which sounds small, but menu navigation is one of those things that people use constantly. If a menu feels awkward or unresponsive, it gets annoying fast. They also fixed an issue where the Actions button callout was not showing up in new releases when using the compare price function, so that should make the shopping and item checking side of Ultimate Team feel a bit smoother too. Career mode got some attention as well. One fix dealt with CPU slider settings, resetting to default after relaunching the game and loading a save, which is the sort of bug that can really throw off a saved setup if you like tuning your game to play a certain way. Another issue fixed an incorrect team display when starting a new manager career with an icon player, so that should help keep the setup process more accurate. They also adjusted youth player height generation to make prospects feel more realistic and balanced, which is nice because career mode players are always looking for those little touches that make long saves feel less random and more believable. Clubs had a couple of fixes in that earlier patch too. The Objectives button was opening the FC hub instead of the Objectives screen, which sounds like a tiny thing until you're trying to get something done and the game keeps sending you somewhere else. They also cleaned up some misaligned text, and that is the sort of UI polish that sounds invisible until it is missing. Once it is fixed, everything just feels more finished. Visually, that earlier update touched a whole bunch of in-game presentation pieces too. Trophy images, boots, kits, ad boards, overlays, crests, logos, star heads, hair, backdrop sponsors, anthems, stadiums, banners, flags, scarves. All of that got refreshed in various ways. There was also a specific PC fix for cases where performance could drop down to low frame rates after the second half, which is huge for anyone playing on that platform because performance dips like that can completely change how a match feels. And once again, stability fixes and text display fixes were included, which tells you the team is spending a lot of time cleaning up the little rough edges. So when you look at the two updates together, the pattern is pretty clear. This is not one of those massive patches that rewrites the whole game from the ground up. It is more about tightening things up, fixing mode-specific problems, smoothing out presentation, and making sure the game behaves the way it should. That might not sound exciting at first glance, but for players who spend a lot of time in clubs, career mode, or Ultimate Team, these fixes actually make a real difference from session to session. And honestly, that is usually what players care about most. The stuff that makes the game feel cleaner, more consistent, and less frustrating when you're just trying to play.